University of Pittsburgh, they're saying, look at all these dead unborn human beings whose organs we could be extracting. Give us money and you'll have hundreds of them. Another major issue, or what ought to be a major issue, obviously, is the issue of abortion. Now, I know the Supreme Court is considering now whether to reconsider or overturn Roe versus Wade and its related decisions that have essentially legalized abortion throughout the entire 9 months of pregnancy in the United States of America. But in the meantime, this on-demand abortion regime has resulted in a market that is barbaric and grotesque. It is a market for fetal organs that involves trafficking and experimentation using the fetal organs of unborn human beings killed through abortion. During the Trump administration, they stopped funding it. During the Biden administration, turned the spigot on. I'm not sure if they began funding it again, but Judicial Watch has been in the forefront of exposing this fetal organ trafficking and experimentation. Usually it's, quote, on humanized mice. How does that phrase sit with you? To say it, frankly, is to highlight its barbarism, isn't it? So one of our lawsuits to expose what was going on was with the Center for Medical Progress, and through that, we obtained documents from the University of Pittsburgh, which are horrifying, to put it mildly. They showed that nearly $3 million in federal funds were spent on their quest to become, quote, a tissue hub, unquote, for human fetal tissue ranging from 6 to 42 weeks gestation. Among other findings, the records revealed the aims of the project listed in the original 2015 proposal for this tissue hub was to develop a pipeline for the acquisition and quality control and distribution of human urinary and genital organs and functions. There's a technical term for it that I'm not going to be able to pronounce, so I'll skip it. So the samples would, again, attained throughout development, 6 to 42 weeks, and generate an ongoing research to distribute fresh developmental human samples from various stages to this project that was investigating this issue of urinary and genital organs and functions. In the proposal, Pitt notes that it has been collecting fetal tissue for over 10 years, including liver, heart, gonads, legs, brain, kidneys, and bladders. They had over 300 fresh samples, and they were excited that the collections could be significantly ramped up, as material could have been accrued from as many as 725 cases last year. So poor University of Pittsburgh, they're saying, look at all these dead unborn human beings whose organs we could be extracting. Give us money and you'll have hundreds of them. They talked about how they had a strong working relationship with the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center and the Department of Pathology, as well as 3 laboratories in the hospitals there. This included a lab boasting a butcher board bandsaw for sectioning bone. Well, isn't that nice? And a frozen section room with digital feed to and from operating rooms so they could have instantaneous discussions with the surgeons, as well as immediate show and tell for them. And these are labs, ironically, in the Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. Later in the proposal, Pitt states that it records the warm ischemic time, I think that's how it's pronounced, on our samples and takes steps to keep it at a minimum to ensure the highest quality biological specimens. So what that means is it's referring to the amount of time an organ remains at body temperature after blood supply has been cut off. Warm ischemic time differs from cold time, which refers to the amount of time the organ is chilled. Pitt's statement suggests the time between the abortion and the collection is minimal. Or are they taking it from babies that are still alive? I don't know. So as a result of those disclosures, there was outrage across the nation. and including from members of Congress who demanded accountability for this. And so University of Pittsburgh, they had an internal investigation, which I'm sure just found that they did nothing wrong. And what happened is University of Pittsburgh, and this is the document we just obtained, that he sent a letter, one of the officials, to Francis Collins, who was then the head of NIH. I write regarding ongoing efforts to undermine important science using fetal tissue. As you no doubt know, various public universities have been the subject of rotating attacks about research using fetal tissue, including some citing NIH support for the research. I think in this one it was specifically FDA support, but it doesn't matter. They're all creatures of the NIH. We're cousins. They're all within the same HHS agency. It is now the University of Pittsburgh's turn in the spotlight. The event that triggered this, they say, is the publication of a paper attached on grafting fetal skin onto rodents. So what they were doing was they were actually grafting fetal scalps onto rodents. And the oblivious official writing this letter to Francis Collins helpfully attached the study. And typically I might say, let's show the pictures, but I don't want to show the pictures. You can go look at them. But you want to see human hair on a rodent as a result of a baby being killed through abortion. That's where you'll go find it. There is an organized attempt to delegitimize science. There you go. Science. Based on fetal tissue rather than identify misbehavior. Now, of course, the misbehavior they think is only if you violate the law. Well, oftentimes they could be violating the law, but they refuse to believe that anything that could be in compliance with the law would be moral misbehavior or misbehavior that should never be funded by taxpayers, even if it's technically legal. And they want the scientific community to stand together with institutions. And they're talking about Judicial Watch. They're talking about our client, the Center for Medical Progress. And so what happens is Collins and his team, they set up a meeting. So you've got the documents confirming that there was collusion between the University of Pittsburgh and NIH over the fetal organ, or as I call it, a chop shop, in the University of Pittsburgh paid for with federal tax dollars. Here we have the federal government and a major university seemingly desperate to continue the barbaric trafficking of organs of human beings killed by abortion. So that's what's going on in your government. Oh, you think COVID's important? Oh, no. They're helping Pittsburgh defend themselves against the moral outrage and congressional outrage of using tax dollars to experiment with fetal organs. Now, Judicial Watch has separately uncovered documents, again, supported with your tax dollars, showing that they were purchasing fetal organs and trafficking in them, it looks like, in seeming violation of the law. The court, in ordering the release of certain documents, suggested that was the case, in our case. Talking about the organs being fresh and never frozen and having a price list of organs. So, this is the moral preening that goes on here in this city over issues. The left pretends to be, and frankly, too many establishment Republicans, they're complaining about all these various issues that are supposedly morally outrageous. That we need higher taxes for, or government's not doing this and not doing that. In this case, we have tax dollars going to support the dismemberment of unborn human beings killed through abortion. And using those materials, and I hate to use that term, using those organs to engage in so-called scientific research. Do you want to support that? Certainly any debate about abortion, this ought to be front and center, but this is what the abortion regime has wrought. A market for the body parts of those killed by abortions. course, if they're not human beings, what's the purpose of these things, right? Well, why would there be any value to them if they're not human beings? Of course they're human beings. So they really don't want to talk about this because it highlights what abortion is about. And I suspect even if you support abortion, this makes you uncomfortable. Are the women involved in these abortions giving informed consent about the use of these, what happened to their unborn human being offspring? I don't think so.
Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all the latest news from Judicial Watch.